duality between the lives of the elite and the commoners.
Exactly.
Rome's elites lived in grand estates, hosting lavish, decadent banquets where they'd feast on peacock tongue and wine from naked waiters.
Every one of these senatorial families has holdings all over the Roman Empire. They're the equivalent of small multinational corporations. They are wealthy in a way that is impossible for us to understand.
And did you hear that? Naked waiters, you see? You know? They're unclean, man. Alright? We can get you loads of scriptures that will show that, man. Alright? This man is unclean. Let's continue.
They lived a very different reality. They worked menial jobs and lived mostly on bread and porridge, living in overcrowded, badly built buildings, prone to collapse and spreading disease.
See?
The games are all about Roman emperors giving the people what they need, and it's always described as bread and circuses.
Yeah, distraction.
But once they were fed, they had to be entertained.
Let the games begin!
There were famines, peasant uprisings, and slavery, and the Roman tax system disproportionately impacted the lower classes,
Yeah,
while the wealthy
just like
often
America.
avoided taxes through exemption or corruption.
This is now a new era of Roman history. Rome is no longer what it was. Rome is in decline.
The middle class was shrinking, and the economy became increasingly polarized between the very rich and the very poor, all fueling resentment and instability.
And by the way, it said 117 AD. Alright, that's when you started to have Roman emperors like Trajan, Nerva, Marcus Aurelius, alright, Septimius Severus, and so forth. Alright, these were all Jakes.
So what does this tell us about the U.S.?
Home they've always dreamed of, the happiest investment they have ever made.
The middle class was once a symbol of the American dream. It meant owning your own home with a white picket fence, a car, kids going to school, a perceived ease and quality of life that couldn't be found anywhere else in the world, that anyone could achieve so long as they worked hard enough.
We are a prospering people, wherever we live, or earn our livelihood.
But for the past few decades, that's all become increasingly out of reach for lots of Americans.
Some people skipping meals because they simply can't afford it.
The number of people experiencing homelessness in a single night went up 12%.
Every year, hundreds of thousands of people are literally asking for donations
That's reality.
to afford medical treatment.
There you
Our
go.
roads and bridges are crumbling, our airports are out of date, and the vast majority of our seaports are in danger of becoming obsolete.
But Americans from the grocery store to the gas station are seeing their budgets tighten every single month. And the changes suggested would mean higher taxes for the average American family, widening America's already massive income gap. 90% of the wealth is right here at the top. And then the lower middle class, they've got 0.3% of a piece here. They got some crumbs there. And the poorest, they have no pie. In fact, they have less than no pie. They actually have a bill for pie. They're in pie debt.
They're struggling to meet rent or mortgage payments, repay college loans, to repay loans for a car.
They're in pie debt.
I just wanna notice something. Alright? I was wanting to notice something, which I noticed. Look at this sign, man. Alright? This is a retail group and it's called Bosra, the Bosra Group. Alright? Now Bosra was where? It was Bosra. It was one of the major places in Eden. Alright, let's see. Let's look at the sign there. That's it. Bosra. Alright. See, look, you have that. Now, they spell it a bit differently. Alright. Isaiah 63:1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bosra? Again. Why does it say that? Now this is talking about Yahushua. Now why does it say dyed garments? Again, as I said, the covenant that we entered in was a blood covenant. Alright? Blood, man. Alright? It was a blood covenant, as we showed you, you know, earlier on in the early part when we went to Exodus 24th chapter. All right, blood, man. All right, we broke that covenant. All right, so our blood was spilled. And guess who was spilling the most blood? It was Edomites, man. You know, and they used to be in a town called Bosra, man. All right. And if you look at this picture, look, the retail group spelled a little bit differently, but what does it say? The Bosra group. You see? So it's clearly and that's the Lord, man. All right, because everyone is who we say they are because we've identified them in the scriptures, from the apostles on down, man. We know who this devil is, and he knows who he is, man.
Rent or mortgage payments, repay college loans, to repay loans for a car.
While the wealthy have become steadily wealthier, wages have been stagnant and costs of living have surged. And it's not that these changes are mutually exclusive. It's off the backs of workers, off the exploitation of the American masses, that the wealthy continue to engorge themselves.
Elon Musk has officially become the richest person in the world. His net worth has crossed the $400 billion mark.
Companies buying out the housing market, insurance companies making healthcare unaffordable, politicians taking money from lobbies to protect corporate interests and fill their own pockets, and the working class is well aware.
Hoarding wealth is so harmful, so unethical, so rage-inducing. Billionaires should not exist.
So you talk about teacher's salary, $2,000 in rent, $400 car payment, you got insurance, you got groceries, electricity. Like, I don't understand how people are affording life right now.
And the differences between then and now is information, knowledge has increased. All right. Knowledge, and it says that in the scriptures that will happen, man. All right. It's in Daniel. Yeah, that's it. Daniel 12:4. All right, and that's mainly happening because of the internet. Now, because of the internet and the freedom of the internet, that's why they want to take things like what's this thing called again? TikTok. Yeah, Talkie Tick or whatever it is. They want to take that off, and you know, because it's not because people are making money. It's because people are bringing out small clips of information that they don't want really the average person to have. But the cat is out the bag. And one of the Rothschilds said years ago, I think it's David D. Rothschild, he said the internet should have never been invented. All right, it's Rothschild. He said the internet invented. There was a quote from a Rothschild, I think it was. That's it, J. Rockefeller, that's it, J. Rockefeller. You know. There you go. The internet is becoming the town square for the global village of tomorrow. That's Bill Gates. But there was a Rothschild that said the internet should have never been invented. All right, that's it. J. Rockefeller. Yeah, J. Rockefeller's internet quote. Internet shouldn't have been invented. You see, and he's one of the biggest. One of these banking families, the Rockefellers. Why did he say that? Because knowledge is increasing via the internet, and that's the reason why you saw those clips. People are voicing their concerns because knowledge is increased. People understand the financial markets now. You know, back then when you had the Roman Empire, they had knowledge, but not on the knowledge that things are now. All the tricks of the trade. For example, they can't do what they did in Iraq and Afghanistan and make up weapons of mass destruction no more, because that's been uncovered. All right. So Daniel 12:4. All right. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the word, seal the book, even unto time of the end. And we're in the end now. All right. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. All right. Knowledge is being increased. Mostly, this word is what is being increased. The knowledge of this scriptures, man. Yahweh Shai, who's that? You know, if you're into that Israelite camp and you're using the word the name, the title, Jesus and Christ, you're really not in the truth, man. All right, we're supposed to be new creatures. All right, that sounds like an old stale Baptist creature, man. That doesn't sound like a new creature. All right, but many are go see knowledge. Many shall run to and fro. Knowledge is being increased. Knowledge of, yes, this truth, and it's going around, all right, via the internet, but also truth in general of what's happening. That's why you got all these people talking about how the healthcare system's broke and this, that, and the other, because of the knowledge of these scams, and that's what they are, insurance scams and health insurance. You know, people are awake to that. And now, what does that bring? Discontent, man. Before, your empire was going around doing all these things, being prosperous, but now everything that makes your empire prosperous, everyone knows what you do, and it's corrupt. So what do you do now? The only places to go is down, man. Okay.
$3,800.
What?
Like, it's so freaking hard to live here.
North America is one big scam.
And then there's the internal social.
That's right. That's what it is.
People have become disenchanted with the illusion of American democracy, of its promises of equality, of equal opportunity for all, as long as you pick yourself up by your bootstraps.
You can see a sea of people all united under one cause. They are protesting for racial equality.
The murder of a healthcare executive has led to online popularity for the shooter.
Mangione has emerged in some circles as a sympathetic figure fighting the system.
All this leads to political instability, economic trouble, and social unrest, which weakens the empire at its core. But an empire is bigger than its center. It's a network of vassal states serving the core's interests, and keeping all those entities in check is done through both soft power and hard power.
Exactly. And those two things are very key, all right, when it comes to empires, soft power and hard power. And the hard power is, yes, the military might, if you don't do this, we're going to blow you off, and this, that, and the other. But remember, all right, what does the Bible say? The Bible tells you that the weak are strong in Joel, man. All right? It tells you that. All right? And that's not talking about you and your spirit, like, you know, how people used to talk about, you know, in church. No. All right. That's talking about the kind of countries that were weaker before now. Like, for example, India has nuclear weapons. No one's going to invade India. You must be joking. All right. That's hard power. All right. They have nuclear weapons. That's hard power. Soft power is your diplomacy. You know what I mean? Etc. For example, America. All right. Their diplomacy was to go to under Donald Trump and invite Imran Khan around to, you know, the White House, and it was an energy deal, and he was like, well, why would I go to America when, you know, we can do business with Russia or whoever and can get it cheaper, you know? And apparently the whole imprisoning him, all right, apparently something like that's got to do with America, apparently. And it wouldn't surprise me, you know. See, that's their so-called soft power, but really it's hard power, and they don't have that no more. They don't have that sway no more because everyone's knows their tricks, and the other nations that are weaker have these good military weapons now. All right. All right, Joel 3:10. Beat your plowshares into swords, your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. All right, that's talking about the weak nations. All right, because it goes on. If you go on to verse 11, it goes on to talk about the Third World War. All right, verse 11. Assemble yourselves, come, all ye heathen. See, heathen, and gather yourselves together around about. Hither, cause that the mighty ones to come down, O Lord. See, and it goes on to talk about this third world war that is going to happen in where? The Valley of Jehoshaphat, which is in East Jerusalem. All right, it continues to go down that road. All right, but it's showing you that the weaker nations are now strong. All right, which is another problem for America, because you can't bully the people no more. And your illusion of the American dream is an illusion, because everyone's poor. People don't want to hear about Donald Trump's going to do this and going to do that. Well, now he's in the White House. Let's see whether your grocery bills are going to go down. They're not. They're going to go up. You people that actually believe in this in democracy, you're really going to have a rude awakening, man.
That brings us to symptom number 2. To understand soft power and how it plays into imperial decline, let's look at the Ottomans.
It was a huge empire, dominated by a Turkish dynasty that had its origins in Asia Minor.
The Ottoman Empire was one of the most powerful and enduring empires in history, spanning 3 continents at its height. It was a hub of cultural and scientific innovation, producing advancements in medicine, astronomy, architecture, and engineering that changed the world.
They ruled a considerable mix of peoples and faiths.
There was no great history of ethnic tension, even though there was a history of massively complicated ethnic and confessional coexistence.
It lasted almost 600 years, until it didn't. One factor that contributed to its demise was its waning influence over the peoples and territories it had under its control, also known as the loss of soft power. Soft power is about being more persuasive than coercive, about getting people to comply without using force. In the case of the Ottomans, it was a delicate balance of diplomacy and cultural influence. But over time, the empire's ability to foster loyalty among diverse groups was eroding, aided by rising nationalism within these communities.
The Greeks were the first to rebel against the Ottoman shackles.
The minute you start getting a political world, this system is going to break down. And that is what happens in the 19th century, and that is the great conundrum for the empire.
People stopped buying into the vision of the empire and began to break off and pursue their own interests.
Exactly.
Now, the US has been really good at soft power. It began after World War II, when the US positioned itself as a global leader promoting democracy, economic growth, and cultural influence.
Chose the king because he can buy more with his wages than any other worker on the globe.
It is the most important idea that the United States has contributed to the world. Citizens of every rank can expect to have a better, richer, happier life.
It helped rebuild war-torn Europe, set up major global institutions where it continues to hold significant power, and has exported music, television, and pop culture across the world for decades. And the messaging of this soft power has been consistent and clear.
Shining city upon a hill. After 200 years, she's still a beacon, still a magnet for all who must have freedom.
But for soft power to work, for people to buy into the fantasy and want to participate, they need to see credibility and moral consistency. Now, just to be clear, the US has violated the principles it preaches since its founding.
Exactly.
Not to mention since its emergence as a global hegemon. It seems the majority of people were willing to overlook that and buy into the American dream. But the illusion is falling apart.
The mob tore down scaffolding, battled their way through the last line of police defense, and broke into the Capitol building itself.
At home, the land of democracy, liberty, and human rights hasn't kept up the best image in recent years, and it's not any better abroad. The US has spearheaded and overseen devastating wars, crippling debt, human rights violations, and environmental damage across the world.
See, so when you have your credibility is gone, then you're basically you're finished as an institution to work with. You know what I mean? Your credibility is gone. You know? So I think people understand and know what America is now, and they're dealing with them accordingly. You know? And that's why now they're trying to bring out Donald Trump as a tough guy. We're gonna make him but really America's drowning, man, and we know how this story ends. All right? Okay, we know how the story ends. Okay. Now, what happens when you have empire at the end is always divided. And that's what this guy is doing. All right, he's nothing. Donald Trump is there just to divide that kingdom even more. All right, and let's go to, this is Matthew, and I'll put it in a, well, you can put it in a King James version, but the NLT one is much better. All right. This is Matthew chapter 12, verse 24. All right. And this is when the Pharisees came out to him and tried to say, he did these miracles in the names of Beelzebub. That's typical of our people, man. They're always very, superstitious. This is Matthew 12 and 24. But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, this fellow doeth not cast out devils, but by Beelzebub, the prince of the devils. So they're basically trying to, accuse Yahushua of being a wizard. Let's put it on the NLT. But he said something to them. All right. Let's put it on NLT now. Matthew 24 and Matthew 12 and 24. But when the Pharisees heard about the miracle, they said, no wonder he cast out demons. He gets his power from Satan, the prince of demons. All right. And verse 25. Yahushua knew their thoughts, knew that they were scoffing, just being demons, and he replied, any kingdom divided by civil war is doomed. All right. This is the NLT. And a town or family splintered by feuding will fall apart. All right. Will fall apart. And that's the same when it comes to empires. All right. Verse 26. If Satan is casting out Satan, if the white man is fighting against his own people, the Russians and America, which is good. All right. He is divided and fighting against himself, which is an Edomite versus Edomite, whether it's America versus Russia, they're Edomites, man. And they both got the red button. All right. His own kingdom will not survive. All right. His own kingdom will not survive. All right. So whose kingdom are we in now? We're in the white man's kingdom. His kingdom is not going to survive because he's against himself. All right. And you're seeing it. She's showing you the division in America.
Democracy and freedom seriously.
All right.
America no longer charts a course and therefore has lost all rights to set it.
See?
Even more so to impose it on others.
Disillusionment with American
Exactly.
values is growing, and in it.
See, they're basically saying, listen, you can't talk about, oh, we're going to give Iraq democracy when you can't even follow your democracy yourself. I mean, look at the Capitol building and all this kind of stuff. So you lose legitimacy. Therefore, you lose influence. And that is soft power. So America doesn't even have that no more. The hard power they've got, no one is scared of them no more because everyone's got nukes. So it's the only way is down for this place. Is not the only way is up. The only way is down for this place, man. All right. This is Jeremiah and Jeremiah 51, and if you look at the top here, it says Babylon judged for sins against Israel, man. And that Babylon is talking about America, Babylon the Great. All right, Babylon the Great. Okay. Let's put it here. I'm gonna put it in the NLT. All right, in this one, because this clips that she's showing you is genuine things that is showing you that America is not going to be healed. It's not going to be come back or anything like that. And this scripture goes into that, but the NLT makes it a little bit better. I'll start from Jeremiah 51 verse 8. All right, and suddenly Babylon, all right, which is America. All right, Babylon too has fallen. Weep for her. Give her medicine. Perhaps she can be healed. Perhaps she can be healed. Or maybe. All right. So imagine when someone's dying, you're trying to give them CPR. And you're trying to, come on, wake up. But no. Nah, man. The Lord has given a terminal diagnosis to America, man. It's not going to be healed. All right. Verse 9. We would have helped her if we could, but nothing can save her now. There you go. All right. Let her go. Abandon her. Return now to your own land. Yeah, all you Chinese and all you heathens that are making money, all right, in America, all right. Our advice is, if you're watching this and you take it seriously, I think you should leave that land. You know, you should leave that land. But hey, if you're the elect, it don't matter if you're there or anywhere else. The Lord is going to deliver you, man. All right, in the chariots, man. You know, and that's an honor bestowed by the elect. All right. If we stay true, man, all right, and we keep our side of this covenant, okay, all right, we would have helped her if we could, but nothing can save her. Let her go, abandon her, return now to your own land, for her punishment reaches to the heavens. It is so great it cannot be measured. Oh my gosh. All right, verse 10. And Yahweh has vindicated us. Come, let us announce in Jerusalem everything that Yahweh, our power, has done. All right? And that's what's going to happen when America's finally destroyed. But as you can see, like she's showing you, is on there, man. All right? And when you talk about, you go to Revelations 18, it's talking about all the nations, like verse 3, where it talks about all the nations have drunk the wine of the wrath of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. These are all these other nations that have got rich over her, of America. And they've had to probably do some questionable things as well, man. You know, probably become Masons and all that madness. You know, the whole UN is an absolute joke. All of these institutions that he makes, they don't represent life, they represent death. That's all they represent. All right, and if you've bought into it, you've committed what? Fornication with her, man. All right, and that's why they're not going to be happy when America's totally taken out by the Lord, man. All right, but as you can see, is on its way out. All right, and it's not looking good figures wise, man. They're declining at a rapid rate.
It's panic. The empire continues to thrash and bully to stay relevant. That's where hard power comes in, and brings us to the third symptom of the fall of an empire. This one is best illustrated by the Soviet Union.
Yeah. Cost too much.
The USSR ideologically rejected the idea of imperialism, but the reality is that it looked and acted like an empire.
The Soviet Communist Party has not faced a serious internal threat to its political rule since the 1920s.
There was a centralized authority overseeing expansion and control of a collection of republics and satellite states, where movements for autonomy were suppressed. What tethered these states together was a unified ideology, communism. But it was also hard power, military might.
Yep.
And that costs money.
It is here, in Red Square.
Exactly, a lot of money.
The Soviet Union holds its military parade.
And that's what got the Roman Empire to collapse as well. Having your armies too thin, and that's what happened with the Soviet Union, because they were in Afghanistan for 10 years, and that bankrupted them. The money that they were why were they in Afghanistan? To get the gas, because Afghanistan's got natural gas. All right. Why do you think America went into Afghanistan afterwards? Yeah, because it's got gas, man. That's what all that's about, and poppy as well. All right. And you make heroin and morphine with that. You can do loads of things, you know, with those things. But it cost the Soviets too much money. They thought it would be a quick, a victory. And America started funding the Mujahideen or whatever. And it cost the Soviets too much. And it basically, that war bankrupted them. All right. And the Soviet Union came to an end. Okay. So these are all examples of how empires are coming to an end, and most of all how this wicked empire is coming to an end, man. All right, so that covenant was established, all right, with blood, man, you know, and hey, us as a people, you know, we've paid dearly for our sins, man. But the Lord has given us still mercy, you know, and this is like our last hurrah, man. So let's not muck it up. You know what I mean? You know, Edom will be humbled, man. All right. That's the takeaway for this lesson. They will be humbled. America will be humbled, and you can see, you know, that this place is going down. You know. So listen, I hope you edified into the next one. Shalom.